Next item is Ranger Police K-9 Search and Rescue. Thing that you're all here for tonight. Attached forward, you'll find the recommendation from Chief Calademus and Park District Attorney Adam Simon regarding the future use of Officer Terry's K-9 Nadja. Staff has included copies of past minutes as well as the agreement with Officer Kaminski regarding the use of his dog. The results that Nadja has achieved are nothing short of miraculous in many occasions. Her ability and agility is not what's in question, nor is Officer Kaminski handling of his search and rescue dog what's in question. What is in question is potential liability to the Park District regarding the lack of insurance for Nadja in the event of a lawsuit. The DERMA, which is our insurance agency as a Park District, we're not part of IRMA, does not insure dogs for K-9 police. Issues of misunderstanding resulting from Officer Kaminski not clearly defining the role of the Park District to his base of followers and fans have skewed what originally was set as allowed and authorized by the Park District and what our role as an agency is. I remind you also from earlier discussions that police dogs are generally owned by agencies, not individual officers. Round Lake, are we correct in that assumption? Thank you. I would also ask the board to please review the attached minutes from the February 10th, 2011 meeting regarding the use of Nadja and expectations given to the Ranger Police regarding the use of the dog. Upon reviewing those, it really leaves a couple of things that you can do as a board. We can go on as we always have and hope that there's never any issues. And everything is duly noted. Officer Kaminski can purchase insurance from an independent insurance company for his dog, not the public dog or the Park District dog, and that's one of the misperceptions that's out there. This dog is not owned or an officer or even been recognized as an official representative of the Park District. Written quotes were received from Officer Kaminski on Tuesday, 8/7/12, which lists him and Nadja insured, but not the Park District. I followed up when Terry did that. There would be potential for them to list us additionally insured. The attorneys are reviewing those. There's no rating on this insurance company. Their primary focus on insurance. Terry, I'll look to you, please.
Am I allowed to comment on everything or just answer your question?
You're going to answer my question, please, because I'm talking about the insurance.
I spoke to, it was...
The question is, can I ask you the question first, please?
Yes, please.
The question is, they primarily provide, they do some search dogs, but their primary focus is wild animals.
Yes.
Extraordinary animals. That's what I'm getting at. It's just saying,
correct.
Trying to give a feel for the insurance company that was founded is out of Midland, Florida. The third option, which in the opinion of the attorneys is the best option for Officer Kaminski, his dog in the Park District. As was originally approved back in 2011, they could join the Civilian Search and Rescue Group. The original plan was for Officer Kaminski to join the Illinois-Wisconsin Search Dog Group, which would have then provided insurance. It was not going to be a police dog. That was stressed by you guys as a board, that you wanted a dog that could be used for search and rescue when needed, but not a partner, not a K-9 unit, as what's in discussion tonight. This would allow Terry to continue working with the Lake County community and protect all parties involved, which once again, nobody up here is questioning the benefit of that, but it's ways the role of the Park District in providing for that. With that, I will turn it over to you.
Again, you have to look at it from the beginning. From the beginning, which is signed, of course, by, we all agreed upon at the beginning. This was not the intention of Officer Kaminski to have this happen. He was going to start doing this. We agreed that he would be allowed to use his car as transportation for the dog, his personal use on his personal time. We agreed upon that. We had no problem. We don't have a problem with the dog. Love dogs. Love them. Not an issue. I'd be grateful if I had the use of Nadja to find a child if I need it. Absolutely. The issue that we're having at this point is, where do we draw the line? The line has to get drawn from a Park District standpoint. We have rangers. We do not have a police force. That is the Daudelin Lake Police Department. That is where my tax dollars go for Officer Stevens' dog to go and find whatever needs to be found in my area.
But I've heard a lot of good things.
Thank you.
But I don't think that that's the issue. My responsibility as a board member is for the financial future of our Park District. And everybody can talk about dogs don't bite. I can't tell you how many times I've had people come with a dog and runs up to me and they go, oh, they don't bite. You're like, well, you know, how do I know that for sure? And I realize the training and all the rest of that. But we as a board can't jeopardize the financial future of our park district. We love this dog. I mean, I think it does a great service to the community, but we have to look at it that way. I mean, that's our responsibility in the community. You would not want us to spend our money foolishly. We have never asked you for a referendum in the history of our park district. Now, you can't say that about other communities. There are lots of other communities that have park departments that have to ask for money all the time from you. We have not done that because we want to live within our means. And it's all well and good that the dog services the whole Lake County community, but it's the taxpayers of this community who are paying for it. So, I mean, I think there's a real need for this dog to be in some kind of independent organization, you know, like maybe Mobile Eye or something that's not affiliated with any police department, any park district, so it can go and do the things it needs to do throughout the county. You know, that then doesn't put the burden on the park district. And how many people live in this district that are here tonight? How many people are taxpayers in the district?
We're all taxpayers.
But taxpayers into our park district, because we are a separate taxing body, so into our park district. Okay. I mean, how do you feel about your tax dollars being used to service? I mean, it's a goodwill thing. I'll grant you that. It's a goodwill thing. But how do you feel about how would you feel if we said, you know what, we're going to start having swim lessons at somebody else's park district, and their kids are going to come up here and swim in our pool for the same price that the residents pay? But you know what? You guys are supportive of it. But there's a lot of people out there that don't give a darn about.
Chief, at this point,
There are
his
people
car is
calling
not
us.
compatible.
People
Is
call
not
all the time.
Okay.
We've approved Terry studying and taking the dog and learning to have search and rescue. The board was directed and said that we had no problem with Terry doing that, but that the dog would remain at home and that the dog would be Terry's. And that's, as a board, that's what we were told, that's the way it was. For you to say now that you use your park district time or were paid to go for training, that's not something that we as a board know of or knew of. But from the beginning, there was no apprehension on this board for you to go further with your search and rescue. What now is coming down, as far as what I see, is the liability issue. That yes, you are going out in a park district vehicle as a park district employee with the dog. That's the issue that we have. That's the issue that's gone to our attorneys. That's the issue that's gone to our risk management company. So that's what we're looking at. We're not looking at the value of you or the dog. We know the value of you, Terry. We had that value before the dog was here. We knew you are a valued employee before you had the dog. What we're looking at, and I know that we start to talk about a money issue, but it's not the money issue. It's the issue all along that we were not, as a board or as a district, not involved in getting the dog.
Let me ask you. Right.
So that is what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at that there's been an issue from the beginning that I'm not aware of, that you are using park district time for your training, that you are using park district time to go out into the community. And I don't have a problem with that. For all the years that I've been on the board, the park district rangers were to be community service. We're not a police agency. Although we say Round Lake Ranger Police, what we've always told and what we've directed our staff is they're community service, they're assistance to other departments. And I think that we need to go back, and Tim can talk too, and I'm not going to control this, but my notes to myself when everyone came up here was that this is Terry's dog.
Yes, ma'am.
And that it's not a park district dog. And that's where our issue is, not the
Correct.
value of you, not the value of the dog. Well, I'm looking at it as a liability issue. It's a huge liability, whether we're talking the dog or Terry. If Terry is out in Island Lake and finding guns and gets shot in Island Lake,
Who's responsible?
we're responsible for him because he's out there as a Round Lake Area Park District employee. You're setting up a liability for him to be injured somewhere that is not performing a job specific for the Round Lake Area Park District. But I would also like to remind you that our constituents would be the first ones that are going to be calling us if an incident happens. If there is something that happens to one of their children, not that it would be, I mean, whether it's in the pool or whether it's at a park, the first person to call you because of liability is someone that's injured or hurt on Park District property. And until this liability is sorted out, it's no different than if someone came to a pool. We have no coverage right now if something happened with that dog and Terry. That's my concern. My concern as a risk manager myself, my concern is that if something happens, God forbid, not that it would, but something could happen. Something really could happen that would hurt someone or injure someone, and there's no coverage for Terry, there's no coverage for us. And in this day and age, people pick up the phone immediately and want to know who's going to pay for that. And that is my big concern. My concern is not where the money's coming from, how to pay for it, but there is no liability coverage right now. And that is huge, huge.
Got it. So,
I believe them. I don't think anything's going to happen, but when I think in my job, when I think nothing's going to happen, I get a phone call the next morning from a parent who says, my child was injured. What are you going to do about it? And that is exactly what we could get here to. And I agree with you, we need to look at it more before we make a decision, but my concern is in the meantime, by the time we talk to Mr. Simon again, or
all right, again, looking forward, one of the speakers mentioned about this being an asset. Now, 2 years ago, did we plan this in our master plan? No. Did it fall upon us? Yeah. Now what are we going to do with it? Well, I've been on this board for 6 years, 7 years or so, and we've never had to have this many chairs. We represent, yes, Chris, we're here to maintain the financial viability of the district, but not only that, we're here to service the needs of all. We're here to service the needs of the people, and I've heard some, very heartfelt, and I think Jenny recognizes as well, there's some very heartfelt comments here, very sincere comments, an outpouring of support for an asset that none of us would have 3 years ago said we planned for. But the fact that we have it now, again, keep it simple, look forward. What are we going to do with that asset? Well, it sounds like the public is extremely strong support. It sounds like from a track record of 11 months, 12 months, the service that our ranger and the ranger's partner have provided to the community is immeasurable. The examples about the young lady and her son. I'll pull $12,000 out of my pocket and pay for it just so.
Writing that down, but
Yeah. 12,000.
that'll be on your tax.
I'll help you.
It ain't about the money. Right. And, when we get down to what it would cost for liability, I'll figure out. Nothing frustrates me more than these liability discussions and insurance. This is a community. We do service 5 different communities, and the fact that we have an asset here that has been proven 100 times over with the people just showing up here, that an asset that has been well integrated and a member of the community and is seamlessly part of the park district, whether we authorize it as a police dog or not, says that, you know, we as a board, we owe it to these people, we owe it to Thomas to figure this out. And you know what, if 4 years after now, gosh forbid, Terry decides to move on, or we lose Nadja, then we come back and revisit it and say, does the Round Lake Area Park District want to replace that asset? Now we have that hard discussion we could have had when we were thinking about it as a master plan. But that's later. The fact that we have it now, do we take full advantage of it? I'd say, hell yeah. I'm saying that I think there should be a way to sort out to where that the type of operation that Officer Kaminski has been performing in terms of being able to use the dog in uniform, to be able to use the dog with the park district identity, for the community service, for the calls to all the other Round Lake communities, and even the broader Lake County community. How do we make that work? The way he's been operating now, how do we figure that out?
And put back, because the car, perfectly honest with you, the car had been changed anyway, so even if Officer Kaminski was without the dog, since he's not his partner anyway, we had one man down to begin with. If he was on duty, he could not put a person that he may have been arresting on his guard anyway in the car. The car was unusable, so.
And we actually have mutual aid agreements where we call for a cover-up.
Well, perfect, and that's perfect, but now, at this point, it's a non-issue because the car's put back together, so he can't take the dog out. So, until we get more information, that's a non-issue. It's done. Simple. And in regards to this information, and that's
The
it.
gentleman's comment is valid, and so this is to close this point out.
We will get more information in regards to the insurance information that you're requesting.
Not that we're all
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on.